Welcome back to the Safe Zone. Today we'll explore the intersections of mental health, personal growth, and spirituality. I'm your host, Living, and today we'll take a deep dive into a topic that touches all of us at some point in our lives. Today's topic is choosing faith over fear when faced with obstacles. Life is full of challenges. Some small, some monumental. But it's how we respond to these challenges as how we can shape our mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. But what does it really mean to choose faith over fear? And how can we make that choice, especially when fear seems so overwhelming? Let's start by talking about fear. Fear is defined as a natural human response, an instinct that has helped us survive as a species. When we perceive a threat, our bodies naturally react with a fight or flight response. This can be incredibly useful when we're in immediate danger. But what about when the threat is less tangible? What about when the obstacles we face is more psychological or emotional than physical or spiritual? You see, fear can manifest in many ways. Through anxiety, doubt, procrastination, and even paralysis. We start to question our abilities, our worth, and our path. It's easy to let fear take the wheel, but when we do, we often find ourselves stuck and unable to move forward. The power of faith. Now let's talk about faith. Faith in this context isn't just about religious beliefs. It's about trust. It's more spiritual. You see, when you trust in yourself, and you trust in the process, and you trust that the things that you say will work out will, even if you can't see how right now, that's you activating your faith. Faith is the antidote to fear because it allows you to move forward even when the path isn't clear. When we choose faith over fear, we're choosing to believe in the possibilities rather than limitations. We're acknowledging that while we might not have all the answers, we trust that we are equipped enough to handle whatever comes our way. Now, this doesn't mean the fear disappears, but it does mean that we're not going to allow fear to dictate our actions. That's the power of faith. So, how do we practically choose faith over fear when faced with obstacles? Here are some strategies that can help. 1. Acknowledge the fear. The first step is to recognize that you're feeling afraid. Denying or suppressing fear can make it stronger. Instead, acknowledge it, name it, and understand where it's coming from. 2. Shift your focus. Fear thrives when we focus on what could go wrong. Instead, consciously shift your focus to what could go right. What are the potential positive outcomes? What strengths do you have that can help you overcome this obstacle? 3. Take small steps. You see, fear often paralyzes us because we're trying to take on too much at once. Break down the obstacle into smaller, manageable tasks. Take one step at a time and celebrate each small victory along the way. 4, practice gratitude. Gratitude is a powerful tool for shifting your mindset from fear to faith. When you focus on what you're thankful for, you're less likely to dwell on what you're afraid of. Start each day by listing 3 things you're grateful for. 5, seek support. Don't be afraid to lean on others when fear feels overwhelming. Whether it's a friend, family member, or a therapist, talking through your fears can provide new perspectives and remind you that you are not alone. Now, I want to share a personal story about a time I chose faith over fear. There was a time in my life where I was very afraid of the dark. And it took me until I was almost 30 to overcome that fear. You see, I had been afraid of the dark since I was a little girl. So I would always sleep with a nightlight until one day I asked myself a deep question. And I asked myself, what was the root cause of me being afraid of the dark as an adult? And what could I do to solve that? You see, I was due to have my first child. And I felt, hey, I don't want to have a child and be afraid of the dark and project that fear onto my kid. So I prayed and I asked God to show me how to overcome the dark. And I took small steps each day to overcome that fear. At first it was scary, but day by day, more and more, I got used to it. As we wrap up today's episode, I want to leave you with this thought. Obstacles are a part of life, but they don't have to define your life. Every time you choose faith over fear, you're choosing growth, resilience, and a future filled with possibilities. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it. And God would never give us a spirit of fear. Instead, He gave us love, power, and a sound mind. And faith without works is dead. Thank you for joining me today on The Safe Zone. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who might need to hear it. And as always, take care of yourself. Stay strong. And remember that you have the power to choose faith over fear. Before we go, I'd love to hear from you. How do you choose faith over fear in your life? What strategies have worked for you? If you'd like to share your story, I want you to reach out to me on my social media. Let's keep the conversation going. And if you found value in today's episode, subscribe to it so you never miss an episode. Until next time, take care, stay strong, and remember that you have the power to choose faith over fear, no matter what your obstacle is. I'm living, and this has been The Safe Zone. See you next time.